So why have different discrimination patterns? Well, the worldwide detecting stage is a massive one, and people want different things from their metal detectors. And this is where we're going to be investigating different discrimination patterns, and we're going to be visiting our old friend, the keyframes, again. In part 4 we talked about keyframes and how we could use them to manipulate certain tones. Well, we still use keyframes on the discrimination, and it works in exactly the same way. So the presets are your custom settings, which you can save your adjustments to 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can manipulate them now. And again, we're going to be visiting our old friends, the keyframes, and it works in exactly the same way as the tones, really. Once you've selected a keyframe, you can go up and down and decide where you want it. So let's say that one's highlighted. I want to bring that down. There you go. Back. Let's go and highlight another. There you go. Highlight another. So you can nibble out your own custom discrimination pattern just by using those keyframes. And this is where you can take your Manticore to the next level by finely tuning that discrimination to only accept or reject desired targets. So let's go back to the detect screen. Now we've made our custom pattern. Obviously it's not affecting the non-ferrous line, but when you've got some troublesome targets, they will be drifting down into this area or this area, especially if they've got iron contamination near to them, or if they're at depth, there might be a coin on edge. So you've really got to be quite careful when you're setting up your discrimination patterns. You need to really think, well, if I'm doing a custom discrimination pattern, I really need to know that these targets are shallow with no nearby contamination, or it just throws it all out of the window, really. Okay, so let's go back to our old friend the horseshoe. Now everything that's rejected with the horseshoe off will become silent. You won't hear it. You'll only hear the accepted ranges. You won't hear the iron. If you wanted to hear the rejected range as an iron tone, just highlight the horseshoe. Nothing changes there. So just bear that in mind, that the horseshoe only controls the rejected range volume. So it would be an iron volume. Modern coins, some of them contain an iron core, so you may want to use a custom discrimination program to accept that certain iron range where those coins fall within. For example, you might be searching on the beach for modern coinage and you don't want to lose them, whereas if you're using a conventional discrimination pattern, the iron core will be rejected. There it is. What is it? It's a little hammered coin. Yay! Oh yes, what a good start to the day. Second target as well. A little hammered coin. Brilliant job. You can hear all the iron popping and squeaking on this field. There's very little you can do about it, you know. You've just got to use your ears and just work through those tones. And that's what I like to use the hybrid two-tone on my Manticore, because it really shines out on those low conductors. That sulky teenager. So let's talk about the notch feature. Now the notch feature is a sliver of discrimination. We've been talking about blocks of discrimination, how to reject certain ranges. But what if your discrimination range was a very slight range, and this is where we use notch, because notch accepts or rejects everything either side of it. Let me explain. For example, if you're searching on the beach and you only want to find pound coins or euros, you'll discriminate everything out, but you'll just leave a sliver of notch in that target range to accept the targets you want. And you can make a notch with several different patterns, so you're only accepting those specific coins, whereas your discrimination tends to reject blocks of targets. Well, just here I've got a lovely piece of coke, as you can see. Now, personally, I like to accept coke as a good target, but if my fields were completely contaminated with coke, then I'd want to reject it. But here's an interesting experiment. I'm using the factory default all-terrain general program, and have a listen to this coke. It's coming up at 0.1. But if I wanted to reject coke, I'd go into my custom discrimination program, hit the pencil icon, and as you'll see there, you've got your target IDs. So 0 is accepted, 1 is accepted, and so on. Because they're all X's, it means they're all accepted, there's no rejection. But if I wanted to reject coke, which is 1, I just hit that, and it will put a sliver of discrimination within that range. So now, nothing on the coke, and if I highlight the horseshoe, it should give a positive tone. Just to prove a point, if I was really looking for those real low conductors, I'd go into all-terrain low conductors and find this coke, because indeed it is a low conductive target. Nothing at all. Why is that? You can see there on the screen, is because the factory default has rejected all this low conductivity range. Let's take a closer look at this. So let's go into the custom settings, hit that, and we can see all that is blocked out. So take a look at this tick. This is what's rejected. 4 is rejected. So we've got 4 to 0, which is rejected. So let's hit that. One more, hit that. One more, hit that. One more, hit that. Okay, so now you can see there we've opened up all that lower end. So just to recap on what we talked about, the top and bottom bars are known as the Ferrous bars, and they work in tandem with the low iron tone. And the sidebar here is known as the discrimination bar, and there's no iron tone associated with it. If a target falls within this rejected range, it will just simply go silent. So what does this all metal actually do? Well, it's quite simple really. It's not a true all metal. If you wanted a true all metal, you'd have to open up your target IDs just like that. So there's no top and bottom Ferrous bars. So to show you this experiment, let me just show you. Horseshoe off, so the Ferrous bar is come into play. I've only got the top one accepted here. So obviously my iron wouldn't give a tone. So if I went into the custom settings and chose all metal, look what it's done to the horseshoe. It switched the horseshoe on. So the all metal is actually this horseshoe shortcut, and all that does is turns the iron volume on or off. So don't get too hung up over that all metal setting. That is just what this shortcut key is on the screen. I find I can reject that lower Ferrous bar without digging too much iron, and that's the big iron, don't forget. The smaller iron is the higher Ferrous bar. So if you want to go out there and perhaps to get the most out of your Manticore, try looking at that lower Ferrous bar. There's something there. Iron. Boom. You can see the crops just started to sprout through. Look, they've only been in a short while and they are coming up already, and kneeling down on this ground I can feel it's so warm. So we've got the perfect growing conditions, haven't we? We've got moisture and warm ground. Come on, show yourself. Right, there it is in my hand. It's a calf. Personally, I don't like to reject targets right down in this low conductivity range because they're the ones what are really hard to find. So the best chance you can give your machine of opening up for those low conductivity targets, the more chance you'll have of finding some really good small items such as small coins and jewellery. The higher conductive targets up here, they're the bigger range, so they kind of take care of themselves, if that makes sense. But down here, you just need to give that machine a bit of a helping hand. That's it guys, part 5 done and dusting. Thank you very much for watching. I've really enjoyed your company, and if you want to watch some more Minelab videos, I've got an extensive playlist on the channel, so let's get over there and do some binge watching. Bye for now.